When the acid secretion is high, we say that this is what is causing it. Apart from the peptic ulcer, we have stress-induced ulcer. I don't know if you understand. Then we have colon ulcer, we have Cushing ulcer. Those are the types of ulcer. With respect to what causes it, it's no longer with respect to the location. In terms of the location, we are talking about whether it is gastric or duodenal ulcer. But just note that ulcer is what? An injury. And this injury must reach the musculary mucosa. It must reach the muscle layer for you to say it is an ulcer. If you didn't reach that musculary mucosa, we can just say it is gastritis, as the case may be. I don't know if you understand. Now, ulcer is one disease that is overdiagnosed. Everybody now have ulcer. It is not like that. That somebody did H. pylori, it is positive, does not mean that that person now have ulcer. Now, H. pylori is present in more than 70% of people. It means that if 10 people does H. pylori, at least 7 or 8 of them will be positive. But the positivity of H. pylori does not signify that now that person now have ulcer. Why it is important is because, number one is that if you know that H. pylori does not mean ulcer, it will help us in two ways. Number one is that it will prevent us from taking unnecessary drugs when it is not necessary. That's number one. Number two is that that person might be suffering from another thing, and that person will say now ulcer, and that person will end up taking omeprazole and other ulcer drug, why the real culprit that is killing that person is there. Because by the time he come to the doctor, the first thing he will tell you, doctor, I have ulcer. How do you know you have ulcer? Just because you did H. pylori is positive, it doesn't mean it's out. In fact, H. pylori is never used in diagnosing ulcer. And that H. pylori is positive does not even mean that that person has the bacteria. We have other things we can do to diagnose H. pylori that is positive before we can now say, is the H. pylori now responsible for the primary issue or not? We have what we call urine breath test. Then we have endoscopy. Then we have a way that H. pylori is never a way to diagnose ulcer. And this H. pylori have made so many people to take drugs they don't need. Let us calm down, assuming that this thing is now ulcer. How do we diagnose it? How do we know? What do we do? Number one is that we look at the symptoms. You will see somebody will say that he's having a waist pain.